I really do ever so hate that feeling on my end. Like, shit's about to go wrong when you hear that in the music. But then all of a sudden it just
Yeah.
plays through, you know that feeling, Joker?
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Like, it's all gonna go to hell. I can feel it now. I can feel it now. Oh shit, it's okay. Cool. Let's move on with the show. If y'all don't know, I do have Full Metal Joker as my guest today.
Hello?
Hello, welcome back to the show. He's another return guest. We're always happy to have people back. Hopefully we don't ask him the same questions. That might be a little odd. But I don't think I've repeated anything yet. So I don't know if it's possible to ask the same question, maybe ask a question from a different angle. But that is the goal. Let's not waste too much time here, and I'll see if I can make this board make noise. Click, click. I'm trying not to click my mouse. It's almost working. Welcome to the Great Debate. I think I screwed something up on the timing there, because it's not like it used to be. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Alright, off on too many tangents this morning, looking at all the details because the weekend's coming and I want shit right. So on the weekend I'll fix it. How is everybody in the chat today, Data? Again, messing around with my bots as long as they'll sit and mess with him. I decided, why not? I had a little fun while the kids were waiting for the bus this morning myself. Bullwinkle, thanks for joining us. Tim, how are we doing? Who else we got? Anybody I'm not saying hello to? Not that I can tell. Anybody else who pops in, welcome. Let's get this show on the road. I just want to start some stupid conversations about whatever, because I've got a lot of stuff on my mind and almost as much stuff on my board. So Joker, what are you in the mood for this morning?
Well, I think let's start off on the easy and then choose toys.
Toys. Like, newer playgrounds are built for safety, except there have been some play areas that are being made for kids to explore with less emphasis on safety. Which is better?
I have to say the ability to explore with less emphasis on safety, because hey, I grew up with those with a playground that had that 2-story tall slides and things you climbed on and monkey bars, and kids are built to take a little bit of bumps and bruises and scrapes and stuff like that.
Okay, so sex toys do come up on the show, guys. Calm down, please. Okay. With that being said, I don't remember if I asked you. Are you in America or are you a foreign?
I live in South Carolina.
Okay. I like that state. I might head there this summer for a couple of days. We'll see. Have you seen the articles then out in the Midwest, I want to say, about the new play areas, the hometown play areas? I forget what they were called, but they're little outdoor areas with piles of scraps and wood with old tools, and a few parents just kind of hang out there during the day to make sure that they're there to bandage kids up, but they're not allowed to interfere with what the kids are doing. You let the kid go out there and play with, reasonably whatever. Obviously, you're not going to go put a pile of razor blades out in there for the kids to play with, but boards with nails in it and some hammers and a pile of nails and, a piece of aluminum that's not horribly sharp, rocks, stones, building blocks, old fabric.
I personally see nothing wrong with that, because hey, that was my childhood in a nutshell, where Uh, I walked after school or on the weekends and a lot during the summer. Uh, from elementary school to my first year of high school or so. Uh, I helped my grandmother a mile away from my great grandmother a mile away from the house, and yeah, that's I messed with hammers and nails and did stuff like that, and I personally see nothing wrong with that. We need to bring back stuff like that because when you ask any kid the reason why they've done all these crazy things, they say, well, because I was bored. And when you look, other than doing things online or playing on the computer, there's not really anything out there for kids these days.
That is reasonably true. I have fond memories of a scar that I have. I just hit the wrong button. I have fond memories of a scar that I have on the back of my leg. When I was a kid, my mom had an old country house, and that's where we lived. On the side of the property we were on, there was this little like ravine-ish. I was a kid. It was a ravine-ish area that in the spring, when the snow melted, just filled with water. And that was the end of the property line. That was where we were supposed to go. So obviously, as a kid, the coolest thing to do was, this is where we're not allowed to go. Shh. Climb down the hill, go up the next hill, onto the next property, and what could we find? When you're 8 or 9 years old, is things as cool as some old, the old glass bottles they have on the old farms in the Northeast are really cool because they look like the ones you see in those old science-y shows with the little wooden corks in the top that got like eyeballs and stuff sitting in them. And we used to go down
Yeah.
the hill and collect the pieces of things. Oh, one day after it rained, we were headed down the hill and I slipped and I slid down that hill and cut the back of my leg open right behind my knee with a rusty barbed wire fence, and went back to the house and grabbed some of those no tear paper towels, wrapped them around my leg, and then duct taped it on. And when my mom got home, I was like, "Hey, Mom, look, I bandaged myself up." "What did you do?" "I cut my leg on a barbed wire fence." "All right, well, let's get it cleaned and then we'll take you to the doctor." "No, it's already clean. I should be okay." "Let's make sure you're good on your tetanus shot." That was how I grew up. And kids these days, I have to admit it, I feel prone to it and I stop myself sometimes. Um, don't jump off of that 3 foot wall. You're gonna hurt yourself. You know what? Go ahead.
Or, or it's with me and my niece. I, I go, okay, you've got this whole section of yard right here. I don't care what you do, go play.
My first working time machine was a wooden toy box I had, and I stood it on end in the corner, and I opened up the door on it, and inside I hot glued the lights from my corded remote control plane that didn't really fly, it just drove across the ground. So I hot glued all the lights up around the top of it, so when I closed the door I could press the controller that I had taped to the side and the lights inside would start flashing. That
Yeah.
was I'm sorry, that was cool. He said time machine. I was like, I remember that. It was in the same house as where I cut my leg. I lived in a lot of different places, so different things I remember by where I lived. Thank you, Bullwinkle. I'm a very sad individual. I built a time machine with hot glue and little lights from a plane.
Whereas for me growing up, my favorite thing to do was to run around in the woods barefoot.
I think when I got older, not so much barefoot, I went to running around in the woods. We moved up into a spot up in the hills, and we had trees on our property down the backyard, and another property with more trees and lots of state land nearby. And so I spent a lot of time just hanging out in the woods, camping out, so to speak.
Yeah. I never really had to uh, go anywhere to go out in the woods because I live pretty much in a hole in the woods with 9.9 acres of property. So I'm gonna go play out in the woods. Okay, come home before sunset.
You better come back when I yell it's time for dinner, okay?
Yeah.
You tell me there's hot food, I'll be right there. By then I'll be hungry. Oh, I've grown up on pieces that had so much land. As a kid, you could literally start running in one direction, and 20 minutes later, you'd realize you're almost at the end of the property, and you have to turn around and run back.
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived in some good areas. I mean, I live in a tiny spot now. I could walk from one edge of my properties to the other in 30 seconds or less. That's sad.
But my favorite thing to do as a kid was to go to my father's mother's house. My grandmother, it's because she has that steep hill of a driveway. So I took my skateboard and I used to street luge down that driveway. Yeah, one time I forgot to put on the heavy boots that I found in my closet that my dad said I can wear for that purpose, and I wore flip flops. I'm like, oh snap! And I end up going down, and I all I know is I scared the bejeebus out of this old lady driving her car because here she goes driving down the road, and then she sees this little kid, this little blur go across the street right in front of her car. Almost into the ditch. She's like, the look on her face was so priceless, and my grandmother was pissed.
My grandma used to have a rule that we could play in her backyard as long as we didn't go near the house. And the hill went towards the house. So the goal was always to, in the winter, go as far up the hill as you could, which we got yelled at for, and then slide as fast as you could to see if your sled would get to the house. Back sort of to the topic, though, I think it is important, and I will continue to go about ways to look at this for people, for kids to be able to hurt themselves, to be exposed to harm, injury, that they themselves can learn from their mistakes and understand what pain is and how they deal with it. It helps a person grow, and if they're not exposed, what kind of person are they going to grow up to be? That it just sounds pitiful. Alright, so I'll bring the board back up, and then I want to, for another good fun laugh, just call this out there. I ever so appreciate the people that come watch my videos, but sometimes I'm not sure why they come to watch my videos. And yes, I do have videos, not just live streams. I don't put a lot of them out, but they're there. One of them is called Upskirting in Panties. Numbskull, Upskirting in Panties. So, just think when somebody sees this video, what crosses through my mind that they're searching YouTube for. And I laugh. So, I looked down today before the show to see what videos are being watched, what's a good conversation, blah, blah, blah. It's not on Pornhub, it's on YouTube. You can search my channel for Upskirting in Panties. You certainly can. It is there. I've got 3 views since last night. I don't think I had any views last night, because it wasn't on the list of viewed videos, recently viewed. And then I looked down today and there's 3. So, if you want to see a moderately cute Russian girl, I think, in a subway continue to lift her skirt, and I keep track of it in a mediocrely funny way, I do have an upskirting video. It is not me wearing a skirt, though. If any of you are looking for that, sorry, I don't know. Because yes, Dada, me in a skirt might just be elephant porn. No, that's a horse. Or something like that. I don't know. We need another topic to talk about, please.
Well, since everyone wants to talk about sex.
Should a partner be responsible for all satisfaction the other gets during their relationship? Anybody want to laugh?
I honestly have to say on this one, in this day and age, with all the sex toys and stuff, I have to say no.
Somebody quick share this show to Andy Worski before I get going. You got 3, 2, 1. Okay, so we all know I try to keep up on content, right?
Yeah.
Andy Worski, had an argument with Brinty Venti on the Kumite the other day. And I just sat back and laughed the whole time as Venti and Worski are arguing about porn. And Worski is advocating for it. And Venti's like, no, but you should just please the man if he needs it. Why should he need porn if you're willing to satisfy him? And I'm just sitting there like, that's an awesome argument. I love that. So, it's bad to say that just because two people are together, that one should be inherently responsible for the satisfaction and gratification of the other, but that should and would and could go both ways, which could be detrimental to some relationships, wonderful to others. Should it be the responsibility of a partner? And no, I'm not trying to argue for porn. I'm trying to argue one topic of the conversation of porn being ethical. And I heard this and I was like, oh, that's great. That is fucking great right there. I loved what she said. You don't...
once you like this one person, yeah, no, it's reciprocal. If what's good for the goose is good for the gander, so if you're gonna sit there and complain, I'm not, you don't please me like you used to. The other person should do the same. Should be allowed to do the same.
Yeah, I guess take this as a person who's been, I'm not old, but I'm slowly getting there like everybody else. I've been with the person I'm with for 13, she's not here, right? Yeah, 13 years-ish. And
as she's laser locked onto your skull.
Yeah. You kind of get set into a pattern after the first couple of few years or so, and then you have to force yourself out of that pattern or keep things interesting and be willing to try new stuff out. So, again, not advocating for or against porn. I sometimes watch porn with her just to get ideas or to get excited about different things. It's not that she doesn't excite me, because if she's laying naked on the bed next to me, it's fair game.
It's on.
Fair game. Okay, cool. Well, okay, just here I come. Not, well, give me a few minutes and I will, but you know what I mean? I don't have a gimp suit. I'm not the one who needs to wear it. I do need me satisfaction, though. You got to satisfy the man. Or the woman. Don't get me wrong. I work hard to satisfy her, because I believe if you make her happy, then, you know, maybe she'll just shut up and do what you want. Right? Right? Wait, hold on. What? Skeeter, get the tools! That's my new pun. I like it. I'm going to have to record that one and put it on my soundboard. I did that yesterday, and it's just, like, stuck in my head. Hey, Skeeter! Give me back that cheese pizza! Skeeter! Skeeter, where'd you go, Skeeter? Okay. I get off topic too easy. No leather suit just for a sticky fox suit. Just a sticky fox suit. What does the fox say? Bang, 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 bang. I saw, why can't I think? Stripes. Data? Stripes.
Oh, that movie, yes. The classic, yes.
Oh, I loved that scene even. You know what the better scene was? That still looks interesting to try, but I don't have one of those pack-away cases that big. Not that my house is big enough for it. I want one of those end-of-the-bed cases that's big enough for 2 people to fit in, and I want to try that.
Yeah, good luck on that.
Hey, listen, I've had sex in a hot tub. Difficult, not great, interesting, worth trying. I come on. Pool, okay. Not great, difficult, a little better motion than a hot tub. Theater, difficult, very difficult, possible. Time your noises for the right moments, you're okay. I mean, you gotta be adventurous when you're young. Come on.
Man, what? Just stick to the back seat of a car, like back in the old days.
That got boring too. How about the front
Or
seat?
better yet, okay, fine. If you want to be exciting, how about the trunk of the car? There we go. So you can freak out the neighbors. Yeah, the car's moving and nobody's inside.
I had an SUV. It was wonderful. When the SUV broke down, I bought a van, and then I had a coupe for a while. I've been through my own vehicles. I think sex is on everybody's minds, but we do need to move on.
Okay, well, let's move on to transportation.
Because who doesn't want to get around? How much longer will we need personal transportation to and from most places, including workplaces?
Until they invent teleportation.
But honestly, I don't photonic transportation.
I honestly think that personal transportation will always be around, no matter how futuristic we may or may not get, because
so you're saying Apollo 13. Wasn't it Apollo 13 at the beginning of the movie where he drives in the 67 Chrysler? Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong movie. And everybody else drives in these, cool new electric hover cars.
I don't know what movie.
It was at the beginning of Apollo 13. I want to say it was with Tom Hanks, and I could be wrong. Data will probably correct me if I'm wrong. He usually does. Nice having Data in the chat.
But yeah, it's that sense of freedom of being able to go where you want to go, and just drive around and listen to the music and just do what you want to do.
I have to say, as I was growing up, one of the coolest things for us and the kids in our area was to spend a lot of time in our cars. Hey, you got a car? Cool. I've got $10. I've got 5. I've got 3. All right, so why don't we do this? Why don't we all grab a soda, put the rest in the gas tank, and see how far we go? And when half the gas is gone, it's time to turn around and come back. And I I learned a lot of old country roads. I learned a lot of fun ways to get to places. Met a lot of new people. Been a lot of places. Just doing that. Where would I be if I wasn't allowed to do that anymore?
Yeah.
Tell the other half, I assume, I said hello. If my
But
assumptions make an ass out of me, that's okay.
as long as you don't end up sleeping on the couch or
Hey,
outside on the patio,
Bullwinkle, I met a lot of cool new people in jail. I learned some really cool shit in prison.
like a few sex positions.
No. I learned some real redneck ways to do things. I could make you toasted cheese on a water radiator. Dwugs. Dwugs are bad,
and and
McKay.
and 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 tat and learn and tattoo you a fine work of art just using a ballpoint pen and show you how a broom handle can disappear.
I can teach you how to make a poor man's air freshener because it smells like shit in prison. How's that?
Yeah.
How's that? It has nothing to do with how to get there. Great car for sex is a 67 Caddy Sedan DeVille. Yeah, because it did have the long seats. Here's the dilemma we have going on right now, and apparently there was an article in yesterday's news about a accident involving a self-driving car while there was a driver behind the wheel. I still have to look into that. Self-driving cars are growing, and the ability for every vehicle to connect and talk to each other means that the vehicles can take care of each other on the network. If a car 100 cars up realizes something is going on, that information is immediately relayed to all cars behind, and all cars can make the change, move lanes, do what's needed to be done for things to continue. However, that problem of there wanting to be people who won't give up their personal modes of transportation, that will mean that there will always be those unknown factors on the road, and that's what creates the remainder of the danger. Besides the
Well,
fact that one day computers are just going to make us all crash into each other and kill us all. I mean,
at least for now, because think about it, when cars first came out, so with it being something new, yeah, there were car wrecks all the time because people didn't know how to handle this piece of new technology. But as it grew and people understood it, things have gotten a lot safer for drivers. Now uh, with these self-driving cars, with them being new, the technology is new, so people don't know how to handle these things efficiently or effectively. Also, with the technology being new, there is a lot of bugs in the system, like with any kind of program, to be taken care of before it can be something of extreme safety and efficiency.
yeah. And right now, the biggest worry, the huge programming issue, the concept, the build, the structure, the cameras, all of that is to detect everything the system doesn't know and try to make decisions based on all of that input. And it's a computer. It there's an amount of time it's going to take. They have to figure out how to set this all up. The more known factors that computer has in advance, the quicker it can make the decisions. The more unknown factors, people, the harder it is for that computer to compute all those decisions.
Yeah.
No wonder why we all believe computers are going to come to the end conclusion that we're all terrible and we all need to die. Because we all know we're terrible and we need to die. We're terrible people. We're unknown. We can't even do things right. We don't even know what it is we're supposed to do right.
As he sits here with a beer in one hand and a lube covered hand in the other, lube covered hand in the other.
No, the wife's not home. I'd rather be lightly violent than hurt my hand. Now I don't know who Mr. Blue Sky is.
Okay, well, controversy.
Controversy. It is believed the higher minimum wage would mean more income for residents. This is backwards. We need a mandatory income decrease nationwide.
Yes, when it comes to this, people talk about higher minimum wage. I firmly argue we do not need a higher minimum wage. We need a decrease of cost of living, because look at if you look back to the 50s and 60s, one person working an office job could easily, with his or her income by themselves, have enough money expense wise to pay for a house, 2 cars, and the other parent can stay home and have 2 or 3 kids and still have enough money to go on vacation once or twice a year.
It is.
But now,
it is the American dream.
Yeah, but now both parents have to work, and then a lot of parents are living hand to mouth.
I was so thrilled when I got a job for $5.65 an hour at 16 years old, which was 5 cents above minimum wage where I was at the time. When I was the manager of a grocery store, I was fighting to get to $12 an hour because that was the low end of what management should have been paid, and I still wasn't making that. But at more than twice as much, I made less for it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah.
When I was a teenager, I had money in the bank. I was spending money like crazy. I was buying gas and food every day. No problem. But now, at a point where I'm making more than twice as much, the same amount of money doesn't buy nearly as much as it did. There's a lot of reasons for this. And some of the conversation that we've gotten into is the artificial influx of funds into the economy to try and boost the economy, but it causes a negative backlash.
Also the massive increase of regulations, because people don't realize, the reason why a lot of your items cost so much, the person that owns the store, they've got to pay for, they've got to buy it from the factory, then they've got to pay for it to get there, then they've got to pay for some kind of insurance, plus they've got to pay for a whole slew of health and safety regulations, and then after they do all that, they have to make at least a 10 to 15% profit.
Data Wasteland says, companies hire when there is a demand. If a company needs people, it needs people. False. I say that is not the way things are going. And I even had a conversation with a few people who have done some physical therapy lately, a couple of doctors that I've spoken with, the offices that you notice are getting crowded. And in my area, in the last 5 years, they've probably built 3 new hospitals or locations, and I guess there's 2 more opening up eventually here. It's getting to a point where doctors are seeing an influx in work-related injuries because people don't want to lose their jobs, so they're trying and pushing harder and harder and harder to do the work that they're being asked to do for no more reward than they're getting. So if
and the reason why, because they're scared of losing their job, because everyone that has a job knows
that you're easily replaceable.
If you don't do your job to the standards of your supervisor, there's over 100 people willing to take your job for less pay.
For what you're making, or maybe a little less. And that is a problem. And when you have that overabundance of people willing, I don't care what the unemployment rate says we're at right now. That number cannot be near right when I know dozens of people in this area looking for another job, more hours, maybe some overtime. Okay, so the unemployment number might be right, but incomes in households, people don't want what they're at. They're trying to get more, and it's not there.
And like, for instance, I'm not working. I've never worked, never officially worked.
Thank you, Grime of Candor, for subscribing.
I've never officially worked. I've done quite a slew of under the table work, and because people are demanding work experience, I have been unable to find work. And I'm 28 years old, and I've never had an official job because how messed up this the system is, especially in my area.
I got terminated from my job because I watched a shoplifter leave and followed the protocol by not addressing them as they were leaving with the property they were stealing. I didn't talk to them. I followed them out 30 feet behind them, walked to the final glass door, which was the exit to the store I worked at. And as I poked my head out the door to see which way they went and started to dial for the police, I got punched from the other side by another person and knocked outside the store. What the people at the store told me when they terminated me after 3 weeks of temporary suspension was that I had gone past the first door, and because the camera couldn't see me clearly, that I was therefore outside the store. And that I had still violated their policy. So, when I fill out those applications, and it says, were you terminated for a policy violation? Yeah, I was. And when they ask, it's like, yeah, I got terminated for stopping a shoplifter because I was following them to the door to call the police and another person hit me. I've asked if I can get back to my job. They told me no. So I lost a management position for some BS answer that somebody up a corporate ladder decided, no, we're not taking the issue. Because shoplifting is okay. So there's a reason the prices on things have gone up, and it's because the quality, the care, and the concern have gone down, so people have to compensate for the theft and everything else. So the price goes up, and then people need more money to buy products, so they complain about income, and then the state or the area raises the wage, and then all the prices go up higher. And then it's just a vicious cycle.
And it's sad to say, if things don't change, it's gonna end up like Russia when the Soviet Union collapsed, where it takes a wheelbarrow full of money to pay for a loaf of bread.
Right. And the only way to draw us out of this is going to be to freeze the economy, which will cause problems because you have to freeze all prices and all wages and stagnate them for a period of time. And you would have to change interest rates and things for people to be able to save money up. It is not right that one income working 40 hours a week should bring in enough money to support a household that one income working 40 hours a week did with the same basic standard of living 20, 30 years ago. And the same income is less than half of the outcome as it was 20 or 30 years ago.
And the one thing that irks me is these people that know nothing, these wet behind the ears fast food workers demanding $15 an hour.
Yeah, and honestly, I was happy as a teenager in high school making minimum wage at $5.50, $6 an hour, working at a grocery store, at a gas station, and every time you get another job, it's, oh, you have experience? We can offer you another 10 cents. We can offer you another 5 cents. And 20 years ago, that was awesome. 5 cents, 10 cents an hour extra? Are you telling me you're gonna give me an extra couple dollars a week? That's so cool. And it is. It was. Now, you look at jobs, and in certain areas, I know a few people who got a wage increase this year, but when something takes over, they live in New York, something about their wage, when it all takes over, they'll be back at minimum wage by the beginning of next year because of all the increases.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. You've been working in the same job for 5 years, and you're going to return to minimum wage every other year.
Yeah, what a shame.
So, you know what? I used to see retirees doing a lot, and you don't see it anymore because they won't hire them for it, is they used to work as grocery store baggers and not necessarily cart collectors, but the carry-out attendants. When I was young, I used to run register and get carts, but we always had a couple of old guys in most of the stores I worked in. You know, a couple of nice, just older gentlemen that would help these little old ladies out to their car and put the groceries in the trunk and bring the cart back, and then help the next little old lady out to their car. That was what they did for 4 hours a day. They loved it.
I wouldn't mind doing that at all.
That job is dead. I've not seen it in any grocery store in...
Bilo does it. Publix does it.
You can specifically make the request, yes, but this used to be a regular job. This used to be something people just went to the store and went, I have a couple hours a day, I could use a few dollars to spend. Do you need somebody to do carryouts? And they'd hire these nice little old people just to do carryouts for a couple hours a day. It used to be a regular thing. You'd have people waiting to take your groceries out up front if you had a cart. Now, you have to wait for somebody to get called if you need a hand. Or maybe, because I was the manager, I would run up and take care of it because you know that's how the customer realizes that's the best place to shop. You're trying so hard to do so much in such a little amount of time, making the same amount of money you were, that it's sending people to the hospital.
And that's the reason why stores like Publix and Bilo and Harris Teeter and a few other stores, even though they charge you a little bit more, people are willing to pay for it because they have these services that people grew up on, where you don't have to sit there and wait. There's someone there with a smile going, no, don't worry about it. We'll take the electric buggy up for you. Or no, don't worry about it. We'll be glad to carry your groceries to the car.
Yes, I want to pay people less. I honestly think the only way well, one of the few ways to reword this to help our economy is to stop all income increases, all wage increases, any of it. It needs to stop. If you get hired for a job at a wage, cool. There is no reason that a person, literally, like you said, working at McDonald's, flipping burgers or ringing a register should be making $15 an hour when 15 years ago that same job was $5.
And this person arguing, well, the CEO makes 800 times
Why do you
the
think
average.
he makes 800 times the average? Three
First of
times
all,
of
and
what he made is just because of the income being 1/3 the value of what it was.
Also, and also, you've got to think about it like this. The CEO, he owns the company. He's got to pay for a lot of things. There's a lot of things he's got to pay for. And you know what? From every dollar that he makes, he only sees about a little bit around 50% of it. About half of it goes straight to the government through taxes and legislation.
Lacey Ann, I like this comment, and then we're going to try and get to the next topic because as much as I want to keep going, and I probably will later, we no longer have the incentive to companies because they need us. We now beg them to do their shitty cashiering job because we're the homeless if we don't. This is so true. This is, again, what I was saying. People are so worried that if they go a couple of days without that income, they're going to lose something. And it's true. If I went a few days without my wife working, we literally have to cut stuff out of the budget. And it's a lot quickly that you have to cut out to make up for a little lost in income. And when you tell people, okay, so you're responsible for doing these 800 units a day, and then you come in a couple months later and go, okay, now you're responsible for doing 900 units. Do we get anything more? No. Okay. Now you're responsible for doing 1,000 units. Well, what more do we get? Your job. Okay, now you're responsible for 1,200 units. Now we need 14. If you're not keeping up, you're fired. We can bring somebody in here tomorrow just as quick. Come on, keep up.
We can easily bring someone in tomorrow that can do 1,500 units. So if you can't keep up that 1,300 units, we're going to fire you.
Yeah, and now I forget what states made this legal. Apparently there's a new federal mandate that came out in 15 or 16, I forget, that allows business owners and companies to consider a 30-hour work week as full-time. Did anybody else hear about that?
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
Tell me, if you can barely make enough money at 40 hours to keep your income rolling, and then they tell me, no, we only have to give you 30 as a full-time employee, so you're only getting 30 hours, then what's gonna happen? Now, this is not state, this is federal, so I'm going to have to look into it again. This was a federal mandate they were trying to put down that required companies, or gave companies the ability to consider a 30-hour work week as a full-time work week. And what that did was, it gave certain companies the ability to reduce their work hours, and then those employees could apply for their medical benefits through the state or government to consolidate all of that. Data Wasteland will probably look into some of this for me. Lacey, I don't think I'm talking out my ass here. I forget exactly where I saw this, but it was a 30-hour work week. It was a couple of years ago. 30-hour federally mandated is full-time or something. Weird shit. But let's get one more topic, if we can, out today.
All right. Okay, well then I'd have to say government.
Laws are going to be passed. Laws that are going to be passed should go through a regular 1 to 4 times per year voter check.
I could agree.
So
I honestly...
Yeah, I'd just like to give a hair bit of lead up. We have laws here, and a lot of the laws are put into motion and voted on by people that we vote into office. And sometimes it just seems like they push through a lot of laws, and some of these laws should be more the standard American's ability to vote on whether or not we feel these laws are okay. And a couple of times a year, even if they did it once a year, line up these laws in a vote like you would for our elections votes for us to go in and put some say on.
Yeah, if it's a law that we have to abide by, I firmly agree we should have some say in what laws we are forced to follow.
Yeah, if you're going to put a law into motion that changes how things are done or limits or enables something to be done a certain way, then you want to make sure that it's something that at least somewhat of a majority of people. You don't want to put a law in like, oh, this is so cool, banning bump stocks is the best thing in the country we can do right now. But then if you brought it to a vote and 65% of the country showed up and 80% of that 65 voted they really didn't care, you can leave bump stocks alone. But you spent all this time and money to work on this law. And what good did it do you? What have you wasted? See, and that's another thing. I don't remember the last new law. Oh, yeah, I do. When you drive through New York and New Jersey and a couple other states, you see these new signs popping up that it's new state laws that you can't use your cell phone while driving without a hands-free device.
Yeah.
I see indications of new laws all the time, but honestly, I don't remember being privy or able to decide on new laws. Hell, I went and voted against the last school tax increase that still happened.
Now, with me living out in the middle of the woods, we don't get told nothing.
I think you should be allowed to vote on. Let me be semi-clear on this because there is sort of a hierarchy here. I think you should be allowed to vote on state laws, and any state representative should then be pushing for federal law to reflect their state, not their individual personality.
Yeah, before any state representative or senator goes and votes on a new law or legislation, they should have a meeting with the people of their state and go, well, these are the laws that are going to be passed. What do you guys think?
For instance, you really don't want somebody who lives in Los Angeles passing a law that affects how you grow grapes in Napa Valley.
Yeah.
They may know nothing. They may not care. They may just be going, oh, we need tax money, so we're going to write this in so we can collect a residue off of this. And it primarily affects grape growers in Napa Valley. So,
yeah,
doing things like this and not including the output of the people in your constituency, California being a very important one right now, it just feels like they should be bringing more back to the people. I'm sorry, I saw it go red for a minute. I didn't touch or do anything. Unless Twitter's trying to load or something, I don't know. Or somebody went live. My YouTube numbers are just popping up. Somebody must have just done something on the internet. I'm sorry, guys. I'll check my settings later. Hell, it could have been another problem. Yesterday, right before I went live, the power in my house flashed and I lost internet.
Wow.
Yeah, so I apologize if I went down. Hopefully everything's okay for everybody. This is hard, though, because at the same time where I would like to be more informed about what's going on and what they're passing, this would slow down the number of laws put in. This would limit the amount of work that they could get done without voter approval. At the same time, it would also cost more towards making it happen, because now you have to you have to make this a regular thing.
But it would increase it would increase morale of the people, and it would incentivize people obeying the law, because it wouldn't be an argument. Well, why should I obey a law that I have no say in? Well, so the government and the people could go, well, they had a polling on it last Tuesday. Where were you?
What do they call themselves? I'm a free individual. I'm a free. Oh no, not a free. I'm a free something under the rights of the something something. I forget how it. Oh, they're.
I'm
crazy.
a free sovereign citizen.
I'm a sovereign citizen. Let me go. I'm a sovereign citizen. What? Yeah. I do want more. I want to feel like I have more say on it. And when you go into the booth and you vote for 6 different people on a slab, knowing what they stand for and what they want, and then half the shit they go after doesn't even get tried while they're in office, you just feel let down.
Yeah.
You know? Let me make...
Like, what the hell did I vote for you? Why the hell did I vote for you?
Yeah. Why even spend all this time caring if nothing mattered? Why do you spend hundreds and thousands of dollars mailing out brochures for this and that when you don't even give people a choice once you get into office? You change this little tiny few words that makes it go, wait a second, that's not what we wanted. Level 3 is having internet issues at the moment. Okay. Alright. So we got through 5 topics. That's not a bad show. Minimum I like to get through is 5 because it keeps the show moving, I think. Definitely thinking about doing another hangout here in the next, maybe later today. Don't know. If we do... What was the last topic? Where did my game board go? What was the last topic we were on? Not schools, before school. Now I can't remember what all the ones we were doing. Let's turn off my background audio. Guys, help me here. Help me. What was the topic that we just got all heated over? Because now my computer will not let me click on them. It's not working. Why is that not working?
Oh, no.
I broke it. It's broken.
He broke his channel, you guys.
I broke the board. The board's broken. Yes, thank you. I love that you guys appreciate it. I look for a different way to look at and talk about things. Feel free to... Hey, look, there's the Discord link now. Hop in there. There's a spot somewhere to give me thoughts or ideas. For when I run shy, I do go in there and look around. There's all sorts of other links you can get. Thanks as always for hanging out in the chat today. Full Metal Joker, thank you so much for coming in and hanging out with us.
Hey, no problem.
Hopefully you had fun.
I always do. This is really interesting.
Interesting because it's different and new. Flip the board and go home. How mature. Yeah, I think that's what I did. I turned it off and I broke it. It's mad at me. Oh, what are you guys even looking at? Oh. See, I broke it. I did break it. No! Whoops.
Wait,
Friday mistakes. Friday mistakes. I did click that link at the beginning. That's why I had skipping earlier. Will it work now? See? Now it doesn't want to work. See? Click, 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 click. This is my mouse fapping to porn that's not on the screen because nothing else will come up. I think it's froze. I froze the game. The great debate's over for the week. It knows it's done. Sure, Dada. What do you got? Maybe show me in Discord, because we're going to find my music. There's a button here. Hopefully it's not broken. We're going to say goodbye for today, and I'm sure I'll see everybody later in somebody's chat or something there on. Everybody, have yourselves a great day. Goodbye.